Here's something most women will never believe. Men don't notice what you do for them. You can cook his meals, clean his place, support his dreams, be there whenever he needs you, and he still won't see it. He won't appreciate it, and he definitely won't love you more because of it. I know that sounds crazy. I know you're thinking, but I'm showing him I care. But here's the truth. Doing more doesn't make him value you more. It usually does the opposite. And today I'm going to tell you exactly why. Because men do notice things. They do pay attention, just not to the stuff you think matters. Stick with me, because once you get this, everything about men will finally make sense. Quick thing before we keep going. If these videos help you understand relationships better, hit subscribe. Your support means I can keep making content that tells you the truth instead of what sounds nice. All right, let's go. The lie we've all been told. Most women grow up believing the same story. Be good to him. Do things for him. Show him you care through your actions. Make his life easier. Be supportive. And he'll see your value. He'll appreciate you. He'll love you more. So that's what they do. They cook, they clean, they help with his stuff. They remember the little things. They go out of their way, they sacrifice their time, and for a bit, it seems like it's working. He seems happy, he seems comfortable, but comfortable is not the same as attracted, and happy is not the same as in love. Here's the first thing you need to know about men. Men don't notice effort, they notice energy. How you make him feel matters way more than what you actually do. You can do everything for him, but if the feeling isn't there, neither is his attention. Let me ask you something that might sting. Have you ever seen a woman who does basically nothing for her man, yet he's obsessed with her? Meanwhile, another woman does everything, and he barely looks at her. That's not random. That's how guys work. What men actually notice. Here's what most women miss. Men notice how a woman makes them feel about themselves. Not what she does, not how helpful she is, not how much effort she puts in. They notice the feeling. And this is where women give away all their power. They think if they just do enough, he'll finally see them. But that's not how it works. The second you start doing too much to get noticed, you're actually showing him you're scared he won't notice you. And fear kills attraction faster than anything else. Think about it. When you're constantly doing things to prove you matter, what are you really saying? You're saying you don't think you already matter. You're saying you need to earn his attention. You're saying you're worried that without all this doing, he won't care. And men feel that worry even when you don't say it out loud. And here's what men actually notice and value. Men notice the woman who knows her own worth when men stop paying attention. Here's what people won't say out loud. Men don't stop noticing you because you did something wrong. They stop noticing you when you become too available, when you're always there, when you need his validation, when you need him to tell you you're doing a good job, when you're constantly checking if he sees your effort. That's when you disappear from his view. I've seen it happen over and over. A woman who used to be confident slowly becomes insecure. She starts asking, "Did you notice I did this?" She needs him to acknowledge every little thing. She gets upset when he doesn't say thank you. She keeps score of what she does versus what he does. And slowly, without anyone really noticing, she fades into the background. Not because he's a jerk, not because he doesn't care, but because the whole vibe changed. Now here's the part that shocks most women. What actually gets noticed? Men notice who you are, not what you do, not how nice you are, not how helpful you are, who you are. If who you are is strong, what you do doesn't matter much. If who you are is weak, nothing you do fixes it. That's why men notice women who walk away when they're treated badly, women who don't beg for attention, who don't do a million things trying to be seen, who don't fall apart when he's not paying attention. Those behaviors show high value, and men always notice value. This is hard to accept. We want to believe that being good is enough, that doing nice things makes people notice us. But people are more complicated. Respect doesn't come from what you give. It comes from how you see yourself. Notice versus obligation. Let's talk about the difference between a man noticing you and a man feeling like he owes you. A man can feel guilty. He can feel like he should appreciate you. He can be comfortable with what you do and still not really see you, because getting noticed takes respect. And respect doesn't come from doing stuff. It comes from having boundaries. I need you to really understand this. Feeling obligated feels like owing someone. Actually, noticing someone feels like being drawn to them. When a man stays because he feels bad, he's keeping score in his head. adding up what you did, weighing his guilt against how unhappy he is. But when a man truly notices you, there's no scoreboard. He's pulled toward you because of who you are, not what you've done for him. Here's the next truth. Men notice movement. Men notice women who are going somewhere in life. When a woman is growing and moving forward, he can't look away. When she stops growing, he stops seeing her. Doesn't matter how great she was before. Male attention lives in the now. Who you are today matters more than who you were yesterday. This is why staying stuck kills relationships. Not fights, not problems, not distance. Being stuck. When a woman loses her direction, he loses sight of her. His attention fades quietly. Think about relationships you've seen fall apart. How many ended because the woman stopped growing? She got comfortable. She stopped chasing her own stuff. She stopped pushing herself. And suddenly the guy who used to be into her started looking past her. The attraction didn't die because she messed up. It died because she stopped moving. Now listen close to this. How a woman handles loss. Men also notice how a woman handles things going wrong. When there's a fight, when things get messy, when emotions run high, does she stay calm or does she lose it? A woman who can handle loss without losing herself becomes unforgettable, because staying calm when things are hard is rare. Most women panic when they think they're becoming invisible to him. They freak out, they get emotional, they try to force him to notice them by doing more or complaining more. But the woman who can face becoming invisible with dignity, who can say, "I matter whether you see me or not," that woman becomes impossible to ignore. Here's something subtle but powerful. Men test women without meaning to. They pull back a bit, they get distracted, they create distance, not to leave, but to see who you are when you're not getting attention. And how you react to that test decides everything. If you chase, you lose. If you complain, you lose. If you panic, you lose. But if you stay solid, a little detached, but still yourself, his attention comes right back. What men don't notice. Now let's talk about what men don't notice. They don't notice you always being there. They don't notice you needing them. They don't notice you trying to please them constantly. They don't notice you giving up everything for them. Those things feel normal to a man. But normal without attraction creates boredom, and boredom is where attention dies. This is where good women lose good men. They think always being there shows love. They think having no life outside him shows commitment. They think saying yes to everything shows they're a good partner. But what it actually shows is no sense of self, and you can't notice someone who has no self, because there's nothing to notice. Here's the biggest mistake. Thinking love means he'll notice. Women mix up love with attention. Love is a feeling. Attention is about respect. A man can love a woman and still not really see her, but he'll have a hard time not noticing a woman he respects. Love goes up and down. It changes with moods, with situations, with stress. But respect stays steady. It's the foundation. A man might stop feeling in love for a minute, but if the respect is there, so is his attention. So what do men actually notice? They notice strength, they notice self-respect, they notice a woman going somewhere, they notice who she is, they notice how they feel around her, not what she does for them. This is why sometimes saying nothing works better than explaining, why walking away gets more attention than chasing, why keeping your cool beats having a breakdown. Because control shows power, and power gets noticed, what strength really looks like. Let me be clear, this isn't about being cold, this isn't about playing games, this isn't about not caring, it's about being whole in yourself. A woman who doesn't need constant validation forces him to notice her value. Real strength isn't being mean, it isn't ignoring him, it isn't pulling away to punish him. Real strength is knowing your worth so deep that you don't need proof. It's being able to care about someone without needing them to complete you. It's having the guts to walk away from being ignored even when it hurts. When you stop trying to get noticed and start just being worth noticing, everything changes. He sees more, he respects more, he feels more, and his attention becomes natural, not something you have to beg for. Why doing more backfires? If you've ever wondered why doing more didn't help, why he still didn't notice, why he pulled away for no reason, now you know. It was never about effort, it was about who you were being, or more accurately, who you stopped being. Because when a woman stops being herself to get noticed, she becomes invisible. Not because men are shallow, but because being drawn to realness is built into how guys work. The woman who keeps being herself, who handles challenges, who works on herself, that woman stays visible. The woman who stops being herself, who becomes predictable, who stops growing, that woman fades away. Even if she's kind, even if she's loyal, even if she does everything right. The final truth, here's what I need you to understand. Male attention isn't about fairness. It's not about who deserves what. It's not about justice. It's about basic psychology that happens below thought. You can fight it. You can call it unfair. You can wish it was different, or you can understand it and use that understanding to build better relationships. Your choice. But pretending it's something else won't change anything. It'll just leave you confused when he stops seeing you, even though you tried so hard. The truth is simple, even if it hurts. Men notice strength, not sacrifice. Who you are, not what you do. Your presence, not how present you are for them. Master this and getting noticed becomes easy. Ignore this and you'll spend your life wondering why your best wasn't enough. But here's what else you need to know. The trap of doing too much. Most women fall into what I call the doing too much trap. They see a need and fill it. They see him struggling and fix it. They see empty space and fill it with more effort, more care, more doing. And at first he might like it, but liking something and noticing it are completely different. When you do too much in a relationship, you're actually training him to do too little. You're teaching him that you'll handle it, that you'll pick up the slack, that you'll be the one who cares more. And slowly the balance tips. You become the one who's more invested, more worried, more emotionally involved, and he becomes the one who's just there. Here's what women don't realize. Men don't value what comes too easy. It's not that they're ungrateful. It's that all humans value what they work for. When everything is handed to a man, when every need is met before he asks, when every problem is solved before he lifts a finger, you remove his ability to feel like a man in the relationship. And I know that sounds backward. I know you're the inking, but I'm showing him I care. And you are. But you're also showing him he doesn't need to do anything because you've already done it all. The investment thing. Here's something that changes everything once you get it. People notice what they invest in, not what invests in them. When a man invests time, energy, effort, thought into winning you, into keeping you, into making you happy, he becomes attached. He notices you, not because of what you did, because of what he did. This is why the woman who's a bit of a challenge, who has her own life, who doesn't drop everything for him, often gets way more attention than the woman who's always available. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about actually being hard to get because you have a real life that matters. When you're always there, always available, always putting him first, he never has to think about losing you. He never has to work to keep your attention. He never has to put in effort to make sure you're happy because you're already doing that job for him. And without that investment, he doesn't notice you. Think about anything in your life you worked really hard for. Maybe a degree, maybe a skill, maybe a goal you chased for years. Don't you value that more than things that came easy? That's human nature. And men are human too. The need to pursue. Here's another truth that might sound old school, but it's psychological reality. Men are wired to pursue, not because of society, not because of old ideas, but because pursuit creates investment. And investment creates attention. When you remove a man's ability to pursue by doing all the pursuing yourself, you're actually removing his path to noticing you. I see this constantly. A woman meets a guy, she really likes him. She decides to show him by doing everything. She texts first, she plans the dates, she makes sure he knows she's interested. She does the emotional work, and she thinks this is helping. She thinks this is building things. But what it's actually doing is stopping him from building his own attachment. Because when he's the one texting first, he's thinking about you. When he's the one planning dates, he's putting mental energy into you. When he's the one doing the emotional work, he's creating his own attachment through his actions. But when you do all of that for him, he's just receiving. And receiving doesn't create attention. This doesn't mean you do nothing. It doesn't mean you're cold or distant or playing games. It means you match energy, not go beyond it. It means you let him come toward you as much as you go toward him. It means you give him space to miss you, to think about you, to want you. the scarcity of self-respect. Here's something men will never tell you directly, but I will. Men notice scarcity, not game-playing scarcity, real scarcity. A woman who has boundaries is scarce because not everyone gets access to her. A woman who has standards is scarce because not everyone meets them. A woman who has self-respect is scarce because she won't accept just anything. And scarcity creates value in the human mind. When something is rare, when something isn't easily gotten, when something takes meeting a standard, we naturally value it more. Basic psychology. So when you have no boundaries, when your time is always available, when you accept behavior that doesn't meet your standards, you're not showing love, you're showing abundance, and abundance makes you invisible. I know this is uncomfortable. We want to believe that love should be unconditional, that if we just love someone enough, they'll love us back the same way. But romantic attention doesn't work like that. It needs polarity. It needs tension. It needs a reason to pursue and keep pursuing. The woman who has other things going on, who has friends, who has goals, who has interests outside of him, that woman is naturally scarce because her time and attention go to multiple things that matter. And that scarcity makes her attention valuable when she does give it. When respect disappears, let me tell you exactly when a man stops noticing you. It's when he realizes he can do anything and you'll still be there. When he can cancel plans and you'll understand. When he can pull away and you'll chase. When he can ignore you and you'll make excuses for him. When he can be inconsistent and you'll be patient. Now, I'm not saying men are trying to treat you badly. Most men are actually good people who want good relationships. But human nature is human nature. When we learn someone will accept anything from us, we stop trying as hard. We stop showing up as fully. We stop investing as deeply. Not on purpose, but it happens. And here's the really painful part. The more you accept, the less he notices you. And the less he notices you, the worse he treats you. And the worse he treats you, the more you try to win back his attention by being even more understanding, even more patient, even more available. And the cycle gets worse. This is why boundaries aren't mean, they're necessary. When you have clear boundaries about what you will and won't accept, you're giving him a roadmap for how to keep you. You're showing him what respect looks like in your world. Meet it or lose me. And that clarity actually makes him notice you more, not less. Because now he knows where he stands. The difference between soft and strong. Here's something about how guys work that explains a lot. Men are drawn to feminine energy, but they notice feminine energy that also has a backbone. Pure softness without any strength becomes something he feels protective of, but doesn't really see. It's the combination that gets his attention long term. Feminine energy is warm, it's flowing, it's nurturing, it's open. And men love that. They're drawn to it like nothing else. But feminine energy, without boundaries, without self-respect, without the ability to walk away, that becomes something he takes for granted. It becomes expected, not noticed. The women who keep men's attention long-term are the ones who can be soft and strong at the same time, who can be loving and have limits, who can be supportive and still put themselves first when needed. That combination is rare, and rare gets noticed. Most women lean too far one way. They're either all soft and they get walked over, or they're all strong and they push him away. The sweet spot is being soft enough that he wants to be around you, but strong enough that he knows he could lose you. That tension is what keeps attention alive. Why men ignore women who love them. Here's one of the most painful patterns I see. A man ignores a woman who genuinely loves him, who treats him well, who would do anything for him. And she's left thinking, what did I do wrong? I gave him everything. But that's exactly the problem. She gave him everything. When a man doesn't have to work for your love, when it's just freely given no matter what he does, it loses meaning. Not because he's a bad person, but because humans don't value what they don't earn. Think about it. If someone just handed you a trophy for doing nothing, would you feel proud? Would you treasure it? Probably not. But if you trained for months, competed hard, overcame stuff, and then earned that trophy, you'd treasure it. Same object, completely different meaning. Your love works the same way. When he has to earn it, when he has to maintain it, when he has to show up for it, it means something. He notices it. When it's just given regardless of his behavior, it becomes background noise. This is why the woman who's willing to walk away often ends up with more attention than the woman who says she'll never leave. Not because men want you to leave, but because your willingness to leave shows that your love has conditions, that it must be earned, that it's valuable enough that you won't let just anyone have it. The role of mystery. Men keep noticing women they don't fully figure out, not because they're confused, but because there's always something more to discover. A woman who has her own full life, her own thoughts, her own world that exists separately from him, that woman keeps natural mystery. He can't predict her completely because she's not orbiting around him. This is why women who give up their entire lives to revolve around a man often lose his attention. They become too known, too predictable, too available. There's no mystery left. He knows exactly what she'll do, exactly what she'll say, exactly how she'll react. And humans get bored with what's completely predictable. Your independence isn't threatening to a quality man. It's attractive. When you have your own friends, your own hobbies, your own goals, your own thoughts that don't center on him, you stay interesting. You stay someone worth pursuing. You stay someone he could lose if he doesn't keep showing up. The women who keep men's attention long term are the ones who keep their own identity inside the relationship. They don't disappear into him. They stay themselves, just with a partner now. And that separate identity creates natural polarity, natural attraction, natural attention. How modern dating confuses women. Here's why this is harder now than ever. Modern dating culture tells women to be the pursuer, to make the first move, to show interest clearly, to communicate directly, to be available, to be easygoing, to not have too many standards because that's being picky. And all of that advice creates women who give away their power. I'm not saying go back to some old-fashioned thing where women can't make moves. I'm saying understand the psychological reality underneath the social changes. Male psychology hasn't changed as fast as dating culture has. Men are still wired to value what they pursue, to attach to what they invest in, to notice what has standards. So when you follow modern advice to do everything, to be everything, to accept everything,